Hi! So, today's video, I wanted to talk about giving, right? So, and unconditional love. So, everybody has this kind of thing about, oh, I have to be unconditionally loving and, I have to give. Now, I just want to get to the bottom of what unconditional love is. Unconditional love is doing something, or giving love unconditionally. That doesn't mean losing yourself into something or allowing yourself to be mistreated. You can still have boundaries and unconditional love, and it's really hard on this journey because you have to learn to balance the two. You have to learn to balance, your boundaries and unconditionally love yourself enough to do that, and then you also have to be unconditionally loving. But for me, a big thing is differentiating what unconditional love is, because unconditional love is about it being unconditional. And I find that a lot of people that think they love unconditionally are actually giving or nurturing because they want to be loved. So that's the thing. I think it's really important to be real with yourself. Why am I nurturing? Like, why am I giving? Why am I, giving out all these loving feelings? Are they totally unconditional? If you give somebody a gift, say you really like this person and you really want to be in a relationship with them, and you buy them a present, and I see so many people say, oh, I just wanted to give it because I just felt like it was for them, and but deep down there's actually a lot more to it than that, because then if that person treats them badly, they'll be like, oh, but I gave them all of these things, and I can't believe they're now doing this because I gave them that, or I can't believe they're like this with me because I treated them so well and I made them dinner and I nurtured them. And if you have any of those resentful thoughts, like, resentment comes from not being unconditional. So I personally think it's best not to give at all unless it's unconditional, because over giving conditionally just drains you, tires you out, makes you resentful. It also places a ton of expectations and a load of pressure on this person, because you're like, oh, deep down what you're saying is, I'm giving you all this stuff so that you'll love me, or I'm giving you all of this stuff so, and I'm treating you in this way so that you'll give it back. And when it's not fulfilled, that creates a resentful energy and anger, all kinds of not nice energies to feel. And actually, if you can kind of pare back that over nurturing and over giving and give it to yourself instead, and then of course, when you get to a state of being able to unconditionally love, then that's really the time when you can be in a union and everything's unconditional, because both people are unconditionally giving to one another and feeding one another as well. Because, when you unconditionally love and you receive unconditional love, like, it fulfills, it energizes, it makes you glow, it makes you young, and there's nothing wrong with unconditionally giving and there's nothing wrong with receiving, but it's about being really, really real. I mean, all this journey is just about being real with yourself, being really honest, like really getting to the core of it and saying why always when you do stuff, like why, and then you can start to actually identify why you're doing things. Because a lot of the time when people think they're being unconditionally loving or giving or nurturing, I can see the pattern that then down the line they'll get angry and resentful that the person abused them when they gave all that stuff or did all that stuff, and that actually wasn't then unconditionally loving. It was actually conditionally loving, because it was loving to be loved. So actually, we can't really unconditionally love until we have the boundaries and we actually love ourselves first, because when you unconditionally love yourself, you can't help but unconditionally love others, because you don't need anything from them. to fulfill you. When you're giving and nurturing and doing all this stuff, when you don't unconditionally love yourself, you're just trying to fill yourself up from other people. And when you end up giving all of yourself away and nothing's coming back in to fill that void, you're just going to be drained and tired, angry, resentful. But if you can wait till you've fulfilled yourself and you found unconditional love for yourself and you filled yourself up, then you will, that's number one task, because you will automatically be unconditionally loving at that point. And until then, I mean, do as you need to do, because it's your journey and we're all growing and evolving in our own ways. But I think it's about paring it back until you've unconditionally loved yourself. And then you've got this automatic unconditional love, unconditional nurturing, unconditional giving, because you've reached the stage where you're giving without any need to be filled up externally. So it's actually a beautiful way to then give and to love, because it's pure. And that's what will lead to a beautiful, open, equal relationship, is when you're not needing to give to fill yourself, to fill the void. You're giving because you just want to give because you're so full that overflows. So, you know, if you feel like, oh, I'm doing all this, you know, I'm giving all this stuff and I'm looking after this person and I'm nurturing this person and they're just not giving it back, and, you know, you're feeling your energy's depleted, you're in a toxic situation, you feel tired, you feel drained, you know, really then be honest with yourself. You know, am I actually giving to this person because I want to be filled up and I want them to love me? Or am I giving to this person because it makes me feel better about myself that I'm giving? You know, just be really, really honest about the reasons that you're giving to them and you're loving them and you're nurturing them. And any kind of anger or resentment is because you were conditional with what you gave. So really it wasn't worth giving at all because it was conditional. And so this little short video is just to really observe in your connection what you're giving, even messages, like when you're sending messages or initiating stuff or trying to, you know, be this person for somebody to make them love you. You're just trying to fill your void with them and use them in a way to fill your void. So once you can find that within, you'll find that things are very different in the way that you give and the way that you nurture, because whatever they do, you'll be fine with it because it was given from a full place. So you don't need anything back from them. So just a little short video to really question your giving and your nurturing and your love, and whether that is really unconditional or whether there are some conditions attached to it that are subconsciously there and when unfulfilled make you resentful and angry and hurt and upset, because none of those things should be how you feel when you've given or loved unconditionally. So something just to bear in mind.